Hello everyone, welcome to Kaleidoscope channel. Here, let's talk about the Terracotta army of the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor. These clay warriors from over 2,000 years ago seem like soldiers who have walked out from the depths of history, silently guarding Qin Shi Huang's underground kingdom. They are not only masterpieces of ancient Chinese art, but also showcase the formidable military power of the Qin dynasty, the astonishing craftsmanship of that era, and the organizational capabilities of its society. Imagine, over 2,000 years ago, the state of Qin relied on an invincible army to sweep across the 6 warring states and unify China. Such a magnificent achievement would have been impossible without the Qin army's strength. The Terracotta army is a miniature representation of that mighty force. On March 29, 1974, in Xiang Village, Lintong District, Xian, Shaanxi Province, local villagers were merely trying to dig a well in a persimmon orchard south of the village to combat drought. Who would have thought that one stroke of the hoe would unearth the gateway to the underground world of Qin Shi Huang's tomb? While digging, the villagers first discovered fragments of clay figures and bronze arrowheads. Everyone was puzzled. Why were these things buried underground? As they dug deeper, more and more clay figures and weapons appeared. And the villagers realized this might not be an ordinary discovery. They reported it to the local Cultural Relics Department. On July 15, 1974, with the approval of the State Administration of Cultural Heritage, Shaanxi Province organized a professional archaeological team to enter Xiang Village and begin a formal excavation. At first, the team thought it would be a routine dig and planned to finish it within a week. To their surprise, the excavation has continued for over half a century. Archaeologists later recalled they had never imagined the scale of the project. By 1975, after a year of work, Pit No. 1 of the Terracotta Army was fully revealed to the world, and it stunned the entire globe. Since then, the Terracotta Army has become a milestone in Chinese archaeological history, offering people a completely new understanding of the Qin dynasty's military might and culture. The Terracotta Army is mainly distributed across 3 large pits, each with its own distinct features and functions. Pit No. 1 is the largest, covering 14,260 square meters, roughly the size of 2 standard football fields. Inside are around 6,000 clay warriors, arranged like a massive army ready to march, an awe-inspiring sight. Stepping into Pit No. 1, one is struck by the grandeur of the scene. Rows upon rows of clay warriors stand in perfect formation, as if ready at any moment to obey orders and charge into battle. Pit No. 2 is slightly smaller, covering about 6,000 square meters, but contains a more complex mix of troop types, including cavalry figures, archers, as well as kneeling and standing archers. These form a flexible miniature military formation, showcasing the Qin army's diverse battlefield tactics. The discovery of Pit No. 2 allowed archaeologists to see the layout of a Qin cavalry formation for the first time, a revelation unprecedented in Chinese archaeological history. Pit No. 3 is the smallest, only 524 square meters, but has a very unique layout. The figures are arranged in a defensive formation, resembling a highly guarded command center. Archaeologists speculate that Pit No. 3 may have served as the headquarters of the entire underground army, coordinating the right army in Pit No. 1 and the left army in Pit No. 2. Altogether, the 3 pits contain over 8,000 terracotta figures, forming a complete military system that perfectly replicates the organizational structure and combat capabilities of the Qin army. In addition to these 3 pits, archaeologists also discovered a Pit No. 4, located 25 meters south of Pit No. 1, covering about 4,608 square meters. But it was completely empty. This pit was likely intended to be the Central Army's location. But due to the turmoil at the end of the Qin dynasty, the project was left unfinished. This incomplete pit stands like an exclamation mark in history. reminding us that the construction of the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor was marked by complex social unrest. Why did these terracotta warriors appear in Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum? They are not mere decorations, but an eternal tribute to the military achievements of Qin Shi Huang. Relying on a powerful army, Qin Shi Huang unified the 6 warring states and established the first centralized empire in Chinese history. He may have hoped that in the afterlife, he could continue his conquests with this invincible army and maintain his rule. Thus, the terracotta warriors were meticulously crafted and placed 1.5 kilometers east of the mausoleum, forming part of the outer perimeter of the burial complex, symbolizing his military might. The layout of the warriors also reflects Qin Shi Huang's political ideology. During his lifetime, he established a highly centralized bureaucratic system, and he carried this vision into the underground world. The right flank in Pit 1, the left flank in Pit 2, the command post in Pit 3, and even the unfinished central army in Pit 4 together form a complete military structure. This design reflects Qin Shi Huang's ultimate pursuit of order and control. His underground kingdom was not just a tomb, it was a miniature empire. The creation of the terracotta army was far from smooth. Historical records show that the construction of the mausoleum consumed enormous manpower and resources, involving hundreds of thousands of artisans and laborers. In 209 BCE, after Qin Ershur ascended the throne, internal rebellions erupted across the country. The workers and craftsmen involved in the construction were drawn into the chaos, and many projects had to be abandoned. This also explains why Pit 4 was never completed and why many mysteries of the mausoleum of the first emperor remain unsolved to this day. According to experts, the process of creating the terracotta warriors represents the pinnacle of ancient craftsmanship. Each statue looks like a real person, with distinct facial expressions and postures, truly a case of 1,000 warriors, 1,000 faces. Artisans used 2 methods to make the statues. One was solid, where the entire figure was molded from clay by hand. The other was hollow, in which the base and torso were formed first, and then the arms and head were attached before firing the whole figure in a kiln. The level of detail is simply breathtaking. From the top-knot hairstyles to the texture of fingernails, from the folds in the armor to the patterns on the soles of the shoes, every feature was sculpted with lifelike precision. For example, some of the shoes have etched stitching patterns on their soles. The front and heel areas are densely stitched, while the center is looser, perfectly mimicking the real stress distribution in an actual shoe. This realistic approach not only demonstrates the artisan's superb skills but also their keen observation of daily life. Even more remarkable is that the terracotta warriors were once painted in vivid colors. Although most of the pigments have faded after over 2,000 years of exposure, archaeologists have still identified traces of vibrant paint. For instance, in 1999, a green-faced warrior was unearthed in Pit 2. His face was painted green, standing in stark contrast to the light pink tones of other figures. This unusual color choice reveals the bold artistic innovation of Qin dynasty craftsmen. These vivid paintings make the terracotta warriors appear even more lifelike, as if they could speak at any moment to tell the stories behind them. You might wonder, how were the faces of these warriors designed? Were there real-life models? The answer is, very likely. When sculpting the figures, artisans probably used people around them as references, such as co-workers, family members, or even themselves. That's why every terracotta warrior has a unique face. Some look stern and composed. Some wear a slight smile. Some have sharp, piercing eyes. There's even a popular saying that all Qin warriors have single eyelids. Possibly because Qin Shi Huang himself had single eyelids? But after careful examination, archaeologists found this wasn't entirely accurate. The eyes were carved with blades, which from afar may look like single eyelids. But up close, some actually have double eyelids. Combined with the painted features, the eyes appear incredibly expressive, as if they're truly watching you. Now let's talk about their equipment, which is equally astounding. archaeologists discovered a large number of bronze weapons in the pits, including arrowheads, swords, spears, and crossbows. These weapons are not only abundant but also technologically advanced. For instance, the arrowheads are triangular in shape, similar to modern bullets, designed for stable flight and strong penetration. It's said that when a bronze sword was unearthed, it still gleamed coldly after more than 2,000 years without rust. This is thanks to Qin dynasty's superior metallurgy. The sword surface may have undergone special rust-proof treatment, possibly chromium plating, a technique that was truly high-tech for its time. The crossbow was one of the Qin army's core weapons. Qin crossbows had long range and great power, and their parts were interchangeable, indicating that Qin's weapons production had already achieved standardization. Archaeologists found that the bronze trigger mechanisms unearthed from the pits had interchangeable parts, which is nearly unimaginable in a cold weapons era over 2,000 years ago. A single crossbow soldier typically carried a bundle of 100 arrows, enough to sustain long combat on the battlefield. This efficient weapon manufacturing and logistics support gave the Qin army a decisive edge in warfare. Besides weapons, the warriors' armor, chariots, and terracotta horses also reflect the military strength of the Qin. Over 500 chariot-pulling horses and more than 100 cavalry horses were found in the pits. Each horse's saddle and bridle are intricately carved and impressively realistic. The Qin people were particularly skilled in horse breeding. Their horses were robust and highly fertile, which gave Qin cavalry tremendous strength on the battlefield. By the late Warring States period, Qin's cavalry, renowned for its mobility and striking power, became a key force in conquering the other 6 states. It's worth noting that behind the making and equipping of the Terracotta army was a highly efficient management system. Many of the weapons and gear were inscribed with production markings, including the names of craftsmen and supervisors. If anything went wrong, the responsible party could be quickly identified. This strict quality control ensured the high standard of Qin military equipment. For example, a bronze dagger axe was inscribed with in the 3rd year of King Zheng of Qin and supervised by Lu Buwei, showing a complete chain of responsibility from top officials to individual craftsmen. This production marking system first appeared during the spring and autumn period, and was further promoted and perfected in Qin under Shang Yang's reforms. These reforms also introduced the military merit-based rank system, encouraging soldiers to earn rewards through valor. Regardless of social background, anyone who performed well on the battlefield could be awarded titles or even government positions. This incentive system greatly boosted morale and fighting power in the Qin army. A powerful military system and efficient management framework laid the foundation for Qin's unification of the 6 states. The Terracotta warriors not only showcased the military might of the Qin dynasty, but also bear witness to the Chinese nation's path toward unification. According to informed sources, archaeologists have restored more than 2,000 terracotta warriors over the past 50 years. Each one was carefully returned to its original position. Even the direction of the faces was preserved, as if they're still waiting for the order to march. But the story of the Terracotta army is far from over. There are still many unresolved mysteries within the mausoleum of Qin Shi Huang. Why did ancient texts never mention such a massive underground army? Are there even larger pits of terracotta warriors yet to be discovered? What secrets lie within the main burial chamber of Qin Shi Huang? If you're also fascinated by the terracotta warriors, feel free to leave a comment below. This is the Kaleidoscope channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support means a lot to us. Thank you and see you in the next time.